All right, let's do this. Welcome to the lunch break here at Fish North, Georgia, Wednesday, December 3rd. Hope everybody's doing good. Some of you guys are already in the comment section. That's because you like it so much. Well, I like you just as much, John G. Wilson. So I appreciate all you guys. It is hump day. It is that time of the week where we can start looking forward to the weekend, right? Got a lot of big plans going on. Things to do this weekend, like fish. And looking at the weather, man, I don't know. Oh, it's not going to be fun out there, but we're going to do it anyway, right? But appreciate all you guys. Listen, hey, if you're watching this at a later date, later on the day, tomorrow, something like that, I love you guys as well. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that thumbs up, notification bell, all the stuff that the cool kids do because it actually does help the channel. So, looking forward to talking to you guys today. Man, what a great live well we had last night. Luke Palmer, that's the first time I've got to talk to him. Oh, I forgot to hit my guys on TikTok over here. First time I've had the pleasure of talking to him, and I really absolutely enjoyed it. He is about as down to earth as you possibly could be. What's up, Kendra? I got your text. And I will hit you up later, Tracy Coker and Tyler. He was just so man, he was just laid back, right? We've done pretty good on the guests this week. The Carlocks Monday night with the kayak episode, they were down to earth. They just enjoyed fishing. And I absolutely think you could say the same thing about Luke last night. And I really did enjoy him talking about, the work ethic. He seems to be like a stand-up guy. I know Clint arranged that, and he has worked with him before, and he told me, he actually told me, he said, dude, he's a dude. And but like family man, he's got a family and all that, but he works and you know, outside of fishing, still runs the family hardware store, likes to spend time with his dad. And that's a really cool thing too. Not all of us are blessed enough to have our father still with us. Mine's done gone on and I miss him, but it's been, I don't know, 12, 13 years. And so I kind of think of just what it would be like if he was still here. But it's really cool. And I enjoyed the conversation and I really did um I really took away from that conversation really just the work and the grind and just staying steady in his mental aspect of just being, right here, never too high, never too low, just right there in the middle. Um, y'all could not get me to go patch fences in the freezing cold. Well, listen, we're bougie and soft out here, right? That's just the way it is. And let me see here. Oop, there we go. Had to do a little adjusting right over there. But still, very cool. What's up, Love and Good, and all the people down there at Academy Sports? It's Jacksonville or St. Augustine. Which one is it, Andrew? So I did see the comment. I got to see him. We used to coach football together back in the day, and now we're both just getting old. But I got to see him, unfortunately, at a funeral. One of our friends passed away, but still good to see you, dude. And you know, Doc Holliday. Uh, Doc, I like that thing you put on Coleman on Facebook. Yeah, he is a man. He's not just a fisherman. He does other things. He has a life. Jacksonville. That's right. Well, say hello to all the people at Academy Sports down there in Jacksonville for me. Maybe we'll come down there one of these days, get together, and we'll do some fishing. Snow is different, Robert, for sure. Now listen, so I was talking. I put in the comments section because we got the Toys for Tots tournament coming up Saturday. And looking at the weather, it's kind of switched back and forth a little bit in that when I looked at it yesterday, it looked like we were going to be okay. Look at it this morning, and now it's just going to be crap. So it's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy. Now, again, that's uncomfortable for us, right? Because the fish are already wet. They don't care. But that's kind of where I want to go with our conversation today. We've talked about it before, not only what we wear and everything, but kind of the mental aspect. Because it is one thing. It is one thing to fish in the rain. If we're doing it for fun, a lot of us are just going to stay home, right? But now we're fishing for a tournament and kind of the mental aspect and everything. 90% chance of rain. Yeah. And of course, we all got our rain gear, and the weather does suck, Nathan. John G, let's pull up a couple comments real quick. You've been having some really great guest episodes for a while. Even though I consider myself a good angler, I still learn a lot every show, and that's what it's all about, right? 100%. That's what it's all about. We want you guys to be able to pick the brains. That's kind of the way we set the show up. Like when you're in the comment section, I want you to actually pick the brains of the guest and try to learn if you know something. And I don't get every question. I miss some comments and questions every once in a while. But that's the whole purpose, is to take guys like us, you weekend warriors, maybe your low level tournament guys, maybe just guys who like the fun fish, and be able to connect them with guys in the know, like a Luke Palmer, like a Seth Fighter, like some of the local guys like Kevin Underwood, and to be able to pick their brains. And we should all be able to learn every episode. If we do our jobs right, you're going to learn something every episode, or at least you'll be entertained, right? But I knew going in, yesterday I did some studying up on Luke and all that. And the one thing, I was watching some of his shorts and everything, and his YouTube channel is really good. You guys really should go follow him on his YouTube channel. It is really, really good. But yeah, just that down to earth kind of, he seems like a guy you just would want to go fish with, but that you could learn something from at the same time. We talked about the loop knots. What I did like about him though is just like me. If you ask me the rods and the models, I ask that question to a lot of guys. What's your setup? What's your setup? If you ask me that question, I would be just like Luke. Well, I don't know. It's like a 7.2 maybe. Yeah, I think it's this. And some of you guys out there, you sound like a NASCAR. Thinking your sponsors. I got the Falcon 7.2, blah 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 blah. But Luke was kind of like, and I don't have to have a brand new rod every year. I got rods that are old and I love them. So I thought that was really cool, really laid back of him. Now back to the rain. Um, that is going to stink. If you're going to go south, we're putting it at Laurel. If you're going to go south all the way down to the south end of Lake Lanier, yeah, serves you right. I don't think Tim and I are going to go that far. Cold rain is not that good, Nathan. Sure. Now, dry is more important than warm and rain. I agree. Moisture will suck heat out of anything. Yeah, so that's the big thing, is staying dry. Now I got my Wicked gear from Spro. I'll have it on for sure. So I ain't worried about being wet. But it's still uncomfortable. But now the fish ought to be chomping. Yeah, Kendra, that's right. I love it. I love giving you guys the opportunity to ask. That's the big thing with me. Um, Doug, you gonna miss the tournament? Yep. Wanted to meet some of the guys. Well, hey, listen, there'll be others. There'll be others. Actually, talked to Tyler. This might be interesting to you. Uh, Talked to someone with Kennesaw State, and there is a possibility of a kind of a benefit tournament going on. Uh, that's a view from 80,000 feet. A lot of details to be sorted out. Don't even know if we're going to be kind of helping with all of it, but they reached out to me this morning. Somebody on your board of regents. So we'll see what we can do. There'll be other opportunities. And again, we talked about it Monday night. We're going to do the Fish North Georgia. I got to get out of saying FNGO. It's just habit. The Fish North Georgia. We're going to do a kayak trail. Guys are bugging the crap out of me to do it. So lots going on with that. But what's up, Clint? But yeah, it was a great time. Now, hoping to get my early birthday present of rain gear before the tourney. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. I would rather you miss comments and pick favorites. You do a great job. But listen, I love all you guys equally. Thomas Alexander on TikTok. What is your thoughts on the BFLs for Mississippi? Damn, Thomas, if I'm being honest with you, I ain't thought too much about it, but let me ask my YouTube guys. Thoughts on the BFLs for Mississippi? I think if Thad Moody were on here, he'd be a good one. What lakes are they fishing, Thomas, if you don't mind? Just out of curiosity. I don't do a good job of following the BFLs here in Georgia, much less Mississippi, but I'm going to do a lot better this year. That's what I told Clint and all the guys. I'm actually going to pay attention to some of the trails and a lot more of the tournaments. The fish were chewing on Sunday in the same conditions. I'm standing by my prediction that it's going to take 22 plus to win. 22 plus to win. And somebody could come in if they get big one. Okay, so you got Ross, Barnett, Pickwick, Granada. What do you guys think? I see one guy says, "Well, they're in Mississippi. That's all I know." I'll be honest with you. One of the things we're going to try to do in 2026 is branch out, get out of North Georgia, get out of North Alabama, South Carolina, and try to get out and learn a lot more of these other lakes and cover some of the other areas out there. I've heard of Pickwick and Grenada and all that. Barnett seems like we talked about it. I don't know. I'm more curious as to watch as the rules. I want to see how all that goes down. I wouldn't rule out waiters for Friday and Saturday, no doubt, no doubt. We will do the kayak trail, John G. I promise you, we're going to do that. I have rain gear right now, but not good stuff. That's one thing. Sometimes you have something, but you end up just as wet if you don't really have some good stuff. And I have always had what I would call subpar rain gear until this year, and so I have fished many a tournament uh, where I might as well have not worn anything. And sometimes that's even worse. Is just getting just that cold going down the back of you. Your knees down, you're wet, or down your back. I'd say probably 24.32 with a dummy size largemouth. It's all possible, right? Uh, it's not impossible for me to drop 22. I'm fishing the right stuff. It's just a matter of timing and luck. Hey, listen, go make your own luck, right? You can do that. How should I be bank fishing in these conditions? I haven't been able to catch nothing. Nathan, where you been fishing? And I would say too, you probably, and this is a guess, if you're fishing from the bank and you're fishing like a big long flat or something like that, you're probably not going to hold as much fish as if you got a point that you can access that's closer to deep water where the fish can go up and down. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you got to have some bait in the area, or those fish they're not going to be there. I mean, there'll be some, but you know what I'm saying. They're not going to congregate. Are you able to access any points? To be honest, um, pattern I'm on has produced multiple 4+ pounders. Just got to catch 5 in one day. Well, listen, that's all our problem, right? That is exactly. And if I sound like I got a cold, guys, I do. I'm powering through this. I don't know what the hell happened, but I woke up and I just got my head is in a vice. So I'm in a good mood. I'm just sound clogged up. I fish windy points or brush lines with a crankbait or work docks and boathouses with a jig or plastic worm. If it gets really bad and lightning starts flashing, I'm close to cover. Absolutely. I get that. He's on Lake Hartwell on main points. You know, you guys in the comment section can help him out if he's on Hartwell on main points. Um, got to be bait in the area for sure. And a lot of guys are talking about, deep water really, really close by so that those fish can move up and down. But I mean, I don't know what our plan is on Saturday. I bet we fish shallow most of the day. We'll be like Luke. Luke was talking last night. He likes fishing that shallow. He can throw that minnow, but he likes that shallow stuff. And I know Tim's a power guy, and I like to be a chameleon. I feel like I can do whatever my boater's doing. If we go deep, I'll go deep. If we go shallow, I'll go shallow. I don't care. I'm just on the water having a good time. Clint said, I have a wetsuit I bought for filming underwater footage last year. Wonder if I wore that as a base layer, could I wear way less layers? I don't know. What's the high is only supposed to be in the 40s, right? Nothing like 40s and rain. 40s and rain. God, it's going to suck. We got to embrace the suck this weekend for the cause, right? It's all for the cause, for the children. But we have to embrace the suck. We're just going to have to love it. And so our love for fishing is going to have to come through. And let's see. Wetsuit could be the move. You got some access to some pockets too. What are you throwing, Nathan? I mean, like what do you like to throw, and what have you been throwing? Let's just start there and see if we all can help you. Um, if your rain gear quits working, sometimes it's because it needs upkeep with waterproofing. It really does help. I have done that before. You're right. And Tommy Burris, it says, if I am catching, and that's all it says, buddy. So I think you need to add some more to that comment right there. I heard the man at the charity term. Oh, yes, Tyler, that is true. And I don't have it. I have it for my. I had it written down for tomorrow night to talk about it. But yes, the man that they're having that tournament for, I believe it's December 20th or right in there. is he did pass away from his tumor. He had a brain cancer, and that is very sad. Young guy, which again it goes to show all of us it can happen to any of us at any time. So enjoy every single day. He did pass away. They're going to continue with the tournament, and that, of course, will go to help his family. You know, he had a wife and he had a son, and it is unfortunate. But yeah, I was going to talk about that. It was in my notes for Thursday night's show. But I hope you guys will support them anyway. Go out there. I know Emil and all of them are going to be out there giving away. They got a raffle, just kind of like we got a raffle. And shout out to Atlanta Safe House. They gave me a bunch of stuff to raffle off at the Toys for Tots tournament. But they're going to do stuff like that. Emil and a couple other pros, I think, are giving away half day trips and all that. So, still, even though sad news, we still can make something positive out of it. Um, Robert says, depends on how long it rains as well. Current and water temps change. True. I think from what I saw, Robert, it looks like the bulk of the rain is going to move in about 1 a.m. Friday night, Saturday morning, and we'll be right in the thick of it come blast off. And there's pretty much a chance of rain for the next 3 days after that Sunday. So I think we're probably going to be dealing with it all day. Now, could we have some periods where we won't have it? For sure. But I think pretty much we're going to be wet. We're going to be wet. Who's going to ring the bell Saturday? We can do it. We can do it. Now, if you're still out there, Pickwick. Now, Kendra, I don't know if you're talking about He's talking about Pickwick in Mississippi. And so I know we got Pickwick up here in Tennessee or Alabama, whichever one. I don't think they're talking about the same lake because he's talking about that. But hey, maybe both of the Pickwicks could turn out some big bags. What's up, Steven Sturgeon? Okay, so here's what Nathan has been throwing, guys. Let's help him out. He's on Lake Hartwell fishing from the bank, some main lake points and some pockets. He's been throwing tail spinners and Texas rigs lately. Okay, have you tried any crankbaits like the Spro Rock Crawler? And I know you're on the bank throwing it out. You have to work it a little bit differently. But have you tried any crankbaits? If I'm not mistaken, is the same. I've never fished there. Okay, Tom. See, I don't really know a lot about it, so maybe that is. Yeah, I have to get somebody in Mississippi to help me out with that. I have to message Thad. Um, the tail spinner. I'm not big on tail spinners. If I'm gonna throw anything, I'm throwing an underspin like that. But are you trying any crankbaits? How about shaky heads, jigs, anything else other than the Texas rig? And if you're throwing Texas rigs, what are you targeting? Because I mean, are you targeting certain structure that you see, or are you just blind casting and just going down the bank? And we'll try to help you out as best we can. Is there anywhere? Let's see. Is there anywhere us non-locals can donate? Kendra, probably not on this. But I tell you what, just in the spirit of things, maybe donate to Toys for Tots or some other thing like that up there in the spirit of helping us all out down here. Because we're doing toys, and generally once we give the toys, Big Shanny, once the tournament's over, Big Shanny gives them to the Marines. As a matter of fact, they got like an auxiliary, some old guys that are old Marines, and they look really distinguished in their uniforms and everything. And I mean, just look at him, you're like, that dude's a badass. Even though he's like 70, I know he probably could just whip my ass. They're just very just distinguished. Hoorah and all that stuff. But I probably would just make a donation to something up there in your area. And Tyler is going to fish it. Now, he said water temps for 57 on Sunday, probably going to be in the low 50s on Saturday. Jerkbait weather. All right, let's see. Nathan says cold water on the hands from the reel while wearing no gloves will disable your hands. No doubt. And listen, just being old, I did heat and air for 25 years. So many hand tools that I used that, like, seriously, if I'm driving, after about 5 minutes, I got to take my hand down. If I'm fishing, you'll see me. If you ever fish with me, we'll be going, and you're going to see me stop for about, I don't know, 2 minutes every so often because my hands get numb and I can't feel them. Let's see. Great show. As always, thank you for your help. David, listen, thank you for watching. Okay. We try. We try. And listen, guys, I'm not lying. I learn at the exact same time you guys are learning. I pay attention. I am just one of you guys that just fortunate enough that I can run my mouth well enough to get some of these guys on. But some of the questions that you guys ask, I'm thinking the exact same thing. I wonder what he would do here. I wonder what color he's going to throw here, or her, or whoever. So yeah, it's a great time. It's for all of us. My casa, your casa. My show, your show. All that stuff. Um, I had to punch my legs on Sunday to make my hands function better. The good thing is, it's not going to be cold enough that we got to put salt on the ramps. We're not going to get any iced up ramps, and your guide should be free. There's nothing more annoying than fishing, and you're down there, and your guides start freezing up. Then you got to stick your rod down in the water and all that every third or fourth cast, and you're shearing ice as you're reeling in your bait caster. It's just building up. There's nothing more annoying than that. I feel for the people that fish in cold weather like that. Um, let's see what we say here, Atlanta Outdoors. I've seen Lewis posting content catching a lot of numbers with tailspins lately on the near 3/8 ounce Shimano Deriku. Yeah, and I actually have a thing where I can make tail spinners, and maybe it's something that they haven't seen. Now, my question is he catching size? Dylan Akins on TikTok. What's going on, my man? Black latex gloves and Vaseline. Listen, now if you go back and look, that makes sense. Now, if you go back and look, you saying Vaseline for the guides? I assume this was saying, but if you go back and look at old NFL games, like where they're playing the ice bowl and all that, back in the day, the offensive linemen and all that would put Vaseline on their arms and everything, not for being slick and all that, but as a layer to keep warm. That's some useless information that I learned. Um, all right, Pickwick is one. Okay, is one huge lake spanning Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're probably right. But when we talk about it, we never include the Mississippi part, do we? I've never tried the rock crawler, dude. Oh, Nathan, go get you a Spro rock crawler. Get you one. Go get Redbug, okay? Go into one of your local stores up there that sells Spro and just say, I need that. You can get the 55 or the 50, doesn't matter. Just a little bit difference in depth that they run. And say, I need a Spro rock crawler and Redbug. Chunk that joker across that point. And if you can do it at an angle, even better. I know you're fishing from the bank, might make it tough. Just dig that thing into the rocks. And every so often, pause it a little bit. If you got spotted bass up there and the largemouth in it too, they'll annihilate that thing. And then you can do it with your Rapala DTs, your DT6s, DT8s, and all that. But go get, I would try that. If you ain't been throwing a crankbait or anything like that, try that. And again, it's going to be a little tough because you're on the bank and you're casting towards it. But if you can start off and say throw down the bank and then just kind of 45 it out until you go all the way around the point, and then do it again. I promise you should be able to catch some spotted bass on a rock crawler. I mean, that's like, I like throwing it, and if I can catch fish on it, you can catch fish. There's a part of the lake, Pickwick, where all three states meet. Very cool. Now, Tracy Coker, Nathan, here's you some more. Appreciate you guys be willing to help out. Try a shaky head. Now, he says a square bill crankbait or a floating jerk bait from the bank. And that's why I said with this weather, too, I guarantee the jerk bait's going to play Saturday. I guarantee you somebody will bust them on a jerk bait. It's just going to happen. I just see it happening. Yeah, and he said Texas rig. I saw that, and of course Tracy. The first thing that popped into my mind too was shaky head or a Nico rig, something like that. Of course, I'm gonna throw a wacky, but he's throwing a square bill crankbait, and I'm telling you to throw a rock crawler. So same thing. Get that reaction bite going. Papa Pond Hopper, watch it at the gym. Appreciate you helping me get this pump on. Lord, I listen. Papa Pond Hopper. I don't know about that comment right there. But listen, hey, whatever gets you going, dude. Whatever gets you going. Lift them weights. Throw one up for me. Lord knows I need to do it. God knows I need to do it. Yeah, Kendra, I wish you could do that too. But listen, just seriously, help out somebody in your area. I think, and just in the spirit of all of us down here, I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, Pickwick, you guys have educated me. It covers all three states. Here's the thing, though. Like I said, we just don't ever talk about the Mississippi part of it, do we? We just don't. I'm scared to lose that $15 rock crawler, or I'll lose 3 in one day. Listen, you can't fish scared. The good thing about a rock crawler is it is tough to get hung up unless you really get it pinned down between some rocks. But if you're digging every so often, and you feel like it gets a little, just let it be. Give it a little bit of slack because that thing should float up backwards, and you should be able to get it through most things. But listen, hey, you can go try and buy the Academy version or something like that, the cheaper. I'm just telling you that there's just nothing beats a rock crawler, in my opinion. Other guys will argue other baits, but the red bug rock crawler, I think, is just by far superior to a lot of them. Uh, what about a blade bait on Hartwell? Jerk bait? Yeah, jerk bait, I would. Blade bait, I mean, you can if they're down in the ditches. A lot of guys are starting to throw blade baits on Lanier, getting down there. Um, Robert says this. Let me pull this comment up right here. Basic rule for rising water is that bass move shallow and often suspend in or very close to bushes and trees near shoreline, as well as scattering. Pitch and flipping to the cover and slowly swimming back works well. It reminds me of like Carter's. A lot of guys talk about Carter's. Jonathan Farmer, when Carter's rises and gets out of its banks up around the picnic tables and the pine trees, what is he doing? He is throwing a jig. He is pitching and flipping a jig up around all that new stuff. And he says they wax them on that. So that makes sense that they do move shallow. Let's see here. Tyler says, if I see some suspended fish, I'm busting out that jerk bait on the scope. Now, here's the thing, and I mentioned it to Luke last night, that jerk bait about the pause, wait 35 minutes, jerk it again, go home, eat dinner, come back, jerk it again. I can't do that. I've caught a few fish on that on Lanier, but I found last year on Lanier, I really did. It was cold in January. I wasn't getting any bites doing that. And I had tried everything else and nothing. I could get bit on anything. And I just started taking that jerk bait. It was a Spro McDart. I got pissed, to be honest with you guys. That's how I figured it out. Sometimes that's the way you figure out a bite. I just got mad and just sailed that joker. And I just started reeling it like I would a Seville. Boom. Okay. Did it again. Boom. And so all of last year, even in the warmer months, I caught more fish reeling, just steady reeling a jerk bait than I did doing the really aggressive slashing and everything, or even the pause. I don't know. It seemed very simple for me. Um, let's see. Nathan says, "What's this? The way you just tried your best to help me, man. Best podcast." Ah, dude, listen. The way to approach this podcast and any of our podcasts is like if we were all deer hunting or we were all fishing together, we're just sitting around a campfire talking. That's all it is. Again, like I said, my show, your show. Uh, Fished many of the mornings with ice in the guides. Caught 20 fish in a pond on a drop shot one of those days. Throwing a drop shot in a pond is something I don't think a lot of guys do, uh, and they should. Tyler flipped the John boat another day. I listen. Yeah, I am in the market, guys. For part of this, part of the unfortunate part of the company split is that the electric rig I got goes to my partner, and so I'm in the market for another boat. If you guys know, and I want a junker. If you guys know if anybody's got an old bass boat, as long as it floats, I don't care. I ain't worried about looks. I've got a Lumbercraft 1436 that I could deck out and do, but it's just not quite stable enough for big lakes. If we were fishing Latham all the time, no problem. We're going to be on Lanier and all that. So if you know of anybody that's got one, message me on Facebook. War Eagle the best. And Dawson Thompson, let me read this real quick. I've been spraying WD-40 on my spool, and it's done me well. That does help. Robert says, over vegetation, catch them with a buzzbait or spinnerbait. If a lot of deeper water beds are at your lake. Okay, I think I read that correctly. War Eagle the best said, finish watching Luke Palmer podcast. He won't be AOY contender fishing with Pradco lures and Falcon rods. Sad when sponsors like this force you to use average tackle. I disagree with you. You are a great guest. I disagree with you. Maybe not so much on the Pradco lures, but if Dave, who was on last night, and several of the guys that are associated with the podcast behind it, they all use Falcon. They really do. They really honestly use Falcon, and they wax my ass with them all the time. I don't think I can't speak for Luke. I think I can speak for Dave. That Dave, that's all he talks about. And I do think it is a regional thing because a lot of those guys, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Louisiana, they're big out there, and they're trying to get into this market as well. I don't know about I think the right angler could take a booger and a Zebco 33 and probably beat half the field. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's a poor musician who blames his instrument. You either got it or you don't got it. I think he could do it. I think he could do it. I don't have any Falcon rods, and so I can't really tell you too much about them other than that Dave and a lot of the guys, they absolutely love them. So I don't know. You may be right though. And I say I disagree. I mean, it's not necessarily disagreeing. Um, I just think, listen, if you put a Walmart guitar, if Eddie Van Halen was still alive and you put a Walmart guitar in his hands, he would still sound like Eddie Van Halen, right? He's still Eddie Van Halen, whether he's playing his Frankenstrat or he's playing a Walmart off the shelf 99.99 guitar. Once he gets it in tune, he's still Eddie Van Halen. And so I think the same thing goes with fishing equipment. I mean, think of Will Harkins, $100,000, won $100,000 on the NPFL, and he's throwing trialing big game. That's not what a lot of people would call really superior line, unless you want to tie it to your bumper and pull, a tank around. It'll do that. So I don't know. You might be right. And as far as sponsors requiring guys, it's well known that, and even Paul Bork and all them talked about striking. As long as the angler is honest and open with his sponsors, they might go up and say, "Listen, on this lake, I I'm going to catch them on another company's baits. That's what they're hitting. You guys don't make that." And they know, they know. But I was told about Luke. He is a Falcon guy. So, and how much of that was because of what them wanting him to say, I don't know. But I know I can speak for Dave. Dave ain't sponsored by him. Dave loves them, but I do not own them. But you might be right. Who knows? That's another good thing about this show. We can all have differing opinions. Lots of small ones on the tailspins, which is what I'd expect. Bunch of dinks, then a bigger one periodically. That would be my take from it. Uh, so yeah, Tyler says hot take War Eagle, but I can't disagree per se. You might be. I don't know, guys. Like I said, I don't know. At the end of the day, if you got confidence in what you're throwing, you know, it'd be good. Colton Posey, what's up, my man? Good morning, everyone. Hope all is well. Danny, I hate I've missed a bunch of stuff. We've all been sick as dogs, just now getting back to normal. My buddy, I hope you guys feel better because you sent that shit over here to Georgia, and I got it right now. uh, Spro rock crawlers are the bomb, Kendra said, for sure. Don't sleep on that PXR Maverick jerk bait. Somebody else said Maverick, too. Yeah, Tyler did. And you guys say it's legit. The Vision 110, who? Oh, throwing some shade right there. What's up, Messick? Danny, if I ain't mistaken, did you say a lot of people come in and buy the Zoom sand color for wintertime for a shaky head? The only time when I had the shop, the only time I could sell sand colored worms or tie sand colored jigs, winter. Don't ask me why. That's the one thing I can't tell you why. But I do know that that's the only time they would sell. Definitely December, January, February, and most of the time January. It is a staple, but again, I don't know why they would hit a sand colored worm in January, but wouldn't hit it in June. I got nothing for you guys on that. Shallow jerkbait bite will be good early Saturday. I think so. Like I said, I think the jerkbait's gonna come into play for sure. Tyler said he's only hung up a rock crawler in a tree from a bad cast. They're tough. I'm trying a wiggle wart Saturday. Have about 30 of them. Coleman, cast them. You never know, right? All right, let's pull up Jeff. Danny, I'm a crankbait junkie a little, but I don't have any Spro crankbaits. You've taught me into a rock crawler. I'm going to grab a few and give them a try. Jeff, I'm telling you what, they are legit. It's one of the best crankbaits out there. Especially, they'll catch largemouth, but if you got spotted bass, especially if you're on Lanier or Allatoona, any of these lakes around here, two crankbaits will be in everybody's hands for the next few months. It'll be a Spro rock crawler, and it'll be a DT6 or a DT8, a Rapala. Jonathan Farmer loves the DT6, DT8. He throws the demon color, that kind of like dullish reddish brown, kind of got a little crawfish pattern to it. And I like red bug. Uh, I got a whole box of them over here. I would pull one up and show you. This is a nasty shad one right there. If you guys can see that, that's nasty shad. That can work year round. But you got the RK50. That's 4 to 8 feet. You got the 55. It goes a little bit deeper. Dig those things. Dig that bill in everything. Uh, Atlanta Outdoors. This is true right here. If you're not getting snagged occasionally, you're fishing in the wrong spots. Rarely ever hang up rock crawlers personally. They're tough. They're tough. Moist Donut. What's going on? I lost $60 worth of crankbaits on the river the other day. Big Brown stole all of them. Listen, that is something too. Guys that go trophy trout hunting, I know you got your purist and your fly rods and all that. I get it. I get it. I've caught some big trout on a fly rod. It's fun as hell. But a lot of guys use bass gear. And those browns, they're like the apex predator in our rivers. They will annihilate them. So, you know, I can believe that 100%. I bet that was fun as hell too. Bass will also congregate where water flows in, where creeks flow in. Bass will sit there. That's very true. All right, War Eagle, what you got on this one right here? Found 3 rock crawlers this fall and only 1 Rapala DT, all in red or green colors. Yeah, and those are the colors, dude. Red and green. And that red bug that I'm talking about to you, it's got the green pumpkin on the top. And it's kind of a reddish orange, more orange on the sides and all that. 17 pounds is leading Hartwell right now. That's that Bass Team Trail, right? I need to watch a little bit of that. I'm gonna be going doing some sheetrock work down at my daughter's house after this, and so I might just turn it on the phone and just listen to it. Messick. I thought here I okay, let me read this right. I thought here is I learned it from Tyler. Okay, we're just gonna say I learned it from Tyler. I'm going to buy and try some jerk baits. Anybody recommend any? And are the mega bass really worth? Okay, so what he's wanting to know, he's hearing about the jerk baits. Did you do that by like voice recognition, or did you actually type that out, Messick? I think you might be tapping on it a little early today. But anyway, jerk baits. I will tell you this again. I use 2 types of jerk baits. I use Spro McDart and I use some of the Arc. Arc has a really good, budget friendly jerk bait. They're $9.99 and they're really good. They got some fantastic colors. Arc, you can't go wrong with those. The Mega Bass, it just depends because here's the thing about the Mega Bass. I always hear everybody talks about. They buy it, they spend 20 something bucks, they buy it, and they change the hooks on it. If you go spend 20 something bucks, it ought to come with good hooks. That's just me. You guys can hit that in the comments. Um, and Tyler said something like that. Here we go. Yeah. The PXR Maverick is $5 cheaper and has better hardware and equal colors and action. Uh, Go home, eat dinner, come back and jerk that thing. That's it. I'm way behind, ain't I? Good grief. Um, let's see. If you had a deep dive, okay, here we go. If you have a deep diving jerk bait, don't twitch it as hard. The bigger bill catches more water and can blow it out. That is true. That is true. Messick says, I'm just going with y'all's conversation there, just going right down the line. I haven't thrown one much, so trying to build confidence since that's all I've been hearing. I'm right there with you. Tracy Coker, the way they're hitting a jerkbait lately is slow, steady jerks, about 1 to 2 seconds apart. Keeping it constant produce more bites than the erratic action. And yes, so I see your next comment was a booger. I'm way behind. In fact, what I'm going to do is go all the way to the bottom. Okay, I'm not okay. I was closer than I thought. Big game is very good line for a bait caster. 100% it is. I throw trialing big game. Tyler says I throw trialing big game on my spools as backing. And then Zoom Factory is pretty cool. Got out there yesterday. Smaller operation than what you would imagine, but they're making a bag of baits every 40 seconds. There used to be a guy over in Lawrenceville, and he I forget his name. When we first got started fishing North Georgia, we went out there. He was making his own baits. He called them Crypto because there's that when Crypto was starting, and I don't know why I named them Crypto. Pretty good baits, but what he did, he would pour for all your mystery tackle boxes and other companies. He would pour their baits, and it wasn't a huge operation and all that, but good Lord, they were cranking out just all sorts of kind of things. And companies would, you would think they'd pour their own stuff. A lot of them kind of source that stuff out. Nathan says, Tyler, I work on an injection machine, and I'm making some chartreuse Kitech style swim baits. It happens fast. I make 50 baits every 90 seconds. Wow. There you go. I like it. Colton says, a buddy of mine has been wearing them out on a flat sided square bill crankbait like the Strike King Chick Magnet. And that's got, hey, I think that's what he said square bill. Yeah, that's what Coker said earlier. My bad, y'all trying to type and work. I get it, dude. Listen, I'm trying to talk and I still mess it up. Uh, Nathan says we have crypto in our store. We carried them a while. I didn't know if he was still making them or not. All right, here we go. Here's my system. This is Colton. Here's my system with jerkbaits. Mega bass, if the fish are aggressive, since it has a more darty action, excluding the X Nanahan. Okay, that's what I put. Strike King jerkbaits for lazy action, cold water. Makes sense. Know you know what you're throwing. Like the so like Spro puts out the mixed stick and the McDart. The McDart has a more aggressive side to side action than the mixed stick. The mixed stick is still kind of, I mean, it's aggressive, but it's still more in the middle. And that McDart will kind of swim a little bit. But I have found that when I like to reel, again, I'm just cranking them. I throw the McDart when I'm reeling because it gives a little more action. It's pretty subtle, and you don't have to burn it. That day I was just mad and I was burning them, but and it worked. But I've gone out now and just throw out and reel. I'm not one to, and I got the Spro uh, jerkbait rod, the mixed stick jerkbait rod set up just for that, But I'm not one of those. I just like to reel it. Little George is the best tail spinner. Hey, it's right there. It's called Mini Fish. What we got? Chartreuse Kitech sounds like the tournament winner this weekend. Chartreuse flukes were a big thing this summer. Nobody could keep them on tap. But I had now Kitech makes one called Spot Remover. That's the name of the color. It's Spot Remover, but it is a chartreuse one, and it does work. I had to wet my whistle or tickle the back of my throat, like Andy Reid said the other day for the Chiefs. Some things you shouldn't say on TV. He said that. What y'all's go-to rod and reel setup for throwing crankbaits? Roger wants to know. It's not in here. I throw my rock crawler over the rock crawler rod put out by Spro. Kind of helps that I got a little relationship with Spro, but I do really like it. It's a medium. I use the JC Elite reel. I got the 7.3 on that, and but there's so many good options. But that's what I definitely want more of a limber rod so that you got the parabolic action for sure. What do you guys throw in your crankbaits on? Let's see. Atlanta Outdoors, and then we'll read this, and then I'll go to that. When I use big game fluoro mono, I just match the diameter and what I'd use from Seagar. There are guys testing big game. I always break significantly over the rating. It seems it does. Now here we go, Roger. I like a 7-foot medium moderate action, not brand specific, with either a 6:4 or a 7:1 gear ratio, depending on how deep I'm cranking. This time of year, 10-pound in VizX, but spring it's 12-pound AbrazeX. I said the wrong one, the wrong reel. On my jerkbait setup, I had the JC Elite 731. I went slower. I got the 5.4 or 5.5 on the rock crawler rod. I got backwards. But line, I'm a snob. That's Seagar. I'm in VizX, 10-pound. I like that line. I might need to keep me some of these. You should. Let's see. Here we go. If you're fishing and mad, you are missing the point. Yeah, I agreed. And that's, what? Even Luke last night talking about keeping your calm, keeping your cool, and just stay. I mean, we all have that. Like if one gets off, I've never been in a situation that he's been in where you lose a couple and it's $100,000 difference. Fish getting off. But I've seen some guys really, and I have fished with some guys that, oh my God, they pout. They pout. They'll be chatty catty, and then they'll miss a fish or two, and they won't talk for the next 2 hours. I'm like, what the hell, dude? Or they'll slam their rods down. Now I tell you what I do. Fish gets off, or I miss one. I say a couple words I shouldn't say, and then I turn around, I turn around immediately, and I go, "Sorry, Lord." I probably say, "Sorry, Lord," Probably 72 times on a typical tournament. I'm missing that many fish, but I do that. I'm like, sorry, Lord. But I don't pout. I mean, I'm done with it. Just I had to get out that word and I'm done. I probably shouldn't say those words. But no, I fished with some guys, man, and they just God, they sull up like somebody shot their dog or something. And I'm like, why? Why you're letting something with a brain the size of a pistachio just ruin your day. Just ruin your day. So Stephen, I 100%. That's probably the smartest thing been said today. If you're fishing and you're mad, you're missing the point. 100%. Don't let it bother you. I mean, there are far worse things going on in this world than you fishing and being mad about it. There are people that never get to fish in their entire life. They'll never be on a boat ever. It's amazing when I find somebody says, "You ever fishing?" Like, I ain't never been fishing in my life, and I'm like, "Huh? Really?" Um, but yeah, dude, you're right, 100%. I love that comment right there. Let's see here. Kendra loves her Tatula. Crank and rod, yep. Crankbait on 7.2 medium heavy, moderate fast with 12-pound fluoro, Tracy Coker. Jeff Brazil says, I like a 7-foot medium, moderate fast action. I use a 7.5 reel. A lot easier for me to reel slower if I need to, 10 to 12-pound line. What's Robert got to say here? Let's flip plural. Bass are cold-blooded creatures and will remain in warm water whenever they can find it, regardless of time of the year. Follow the bait fish. And that's what, yeah, exactly. That's what I was telling Nathan about, wherever you're fishing at, if you ain't got no bait, you ain't gonna have no fish, right? I mean, you'll have one or two that just, again, we'll talk about that TikTok that's out there. It's always about the dogs or so. My name is Gladius Meridius, and it's bad. And then you got, my name is Jeb, and it's the Chihuahua that's got crooked eyes. That's that one fish sitting in a pocket when there ain't no bait. That's Jeb or Jed or whatever the hell whatever they say. Oh, I love those things too. Sometimes the fish and conditions will defeat you. It's a head game, and that's kind of like the rain. That's why I was going to talk about the rain. There are guys that are going to say, it's raining, I'm not going fishing. I'm not going to fish it. There will be guys that will not fish the Toys for Tots tournament Saturday because it's going to rain. First of all, you're soft. Get out there. The fish are already wet. You just got to fish. But, and I'm just joking, but in real seriousness, in real honest seriousness, it's like guys have already they got their mind made up that the fish aren't going to bite. It's kind of like winter fishing. When I tell guys all the time, some of the biggest bags and some of the best fishing is done in the cold of winter. They're like, really? Because they're not on Lanier. There are more guys that fish, in the ponds and stuff during the summertime behind the house. And when I tell them, like, no, dude, first of all, you ain't got no pleasure boaters hardly on the lake. It's the best time to fish, but like especially on spotted bass lakes, like you can just wax on them, and they're all like shocked because in their mind, you don't fish when it's cold. And when I was growing up, I didn't fish when it was cold. We had a pond behind the house. Very rarely did we go fish because my dad was of that mindset. But yeah, it is a head game. And that water is a head game. It's a little Chinese water torture too. If you get that one drip going down the back of your neck all daggum day. What's the better gear ratio for a jerk bait? And mine, like I said, this is my exact reel. The one I give away to Jason. I got to mail it out to Jason. He won it last night. 731 JC Elite Reel. That's what I like. Everybody's got their differences. It's all personal preference. That's my reel. That's the one I use. Land Outdoors. Crank and I use either a 541 Abu Revo. I have that reel too. Very good reel. In fact, I got it. No, it's over there in the corner right over there. Great reel. Or it goes on a spinning reel, like slower gear ratios. I like a medium light or medium rod. Usually depends on the crankbait size and weight. Yeah, got to have that bend, right? I use the same setup for jerk baits, Jeff says, as I do for my smaller crankbaits. I can see that. Kendra says she cusses like I do. And I have to say I'm sorry all the time. Like my entire tournament, I'm like, sorry, Lord. I know I should have said that. I really didn't mean that about your fish that you created and designed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I do it all the time. That's why I have to sit up front at church on Sundays because I am the heathen. I'm not a back row Baptist. I get right up there in the middle of it. Like, come on, Lord, throw it at me. I've seen someone on YouTube snap a rod over his knee and throw it in the water. Some people rage hard. Not me. Yeah, I know. With the reel. Yeah. 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 That's not me. Alpha angler rebound is all glass, makes a hell of a difference. I don't lose crankbait fish on that rod. Glass rods, there's always that big debate. I know guys that they want a glass rod. Always use glass rods, always will use a glass rod. And of course, that's a quality rod that you got right there with the Alpha angler rebound. And it's personal preference, right? But you got to be able to have some. That rod's got to have some give to it. I mean, I'm not Kevin Van Dam, but I know that all the fish I've been catching have been eating crawls. It's that time of year. It's that time of year. Now, Patricia, this is true. I like it when the small fish comes off at the boat. 100%. Yeah, makes it easy, right? And if you're just fun fishing and you go to pull it up and it's a 12-incher and it falls off, you're like, it counts, right? When you keep it score with your buddy, it counts. If they get off before you kind of boat lift it out of the water, it don't count. That's one of the unwritten rules. It don't count. But if you get it out of the water, you don't have to put your hands on it. If it's small, if it's big, that's a different story. I agree. Let's see. Here we go. Let me read this. I agree with that, but we've all had days where you want to throw all your rods in the water. You know what? I think it's an age thing too. When I was 20, 30 years, in my 20s and my 30s, played a lot of beer league softball and all that. My nickname was Pitbull because I ran my mouth. Imagine that, right? It was very aggressive, had a temper, just but I also played with guys that were like 6'4", 6'5", so I really wasn't scared. It'd been different if I'd have played on teams guys my own size. But anyway, I was very aggressive, always ill about stuff like that. I've told the story. My kids got a Wii and they made the avatar faces, and dad's was a frown. And I look back at it now and it's embarrassing. And I like once you get so old, you're like, I mean, what the hell? It didn't do me any good. So it's kind of like you grow out of it. That's why they say there's pre-Jesus Danny and there's post-Jesus Danny. And the Lord's still working on me to this day, but I definitely don't go off the rails like I used to. I probably in my 20s would have been that guy breaking the rods. But now that I got to pay for every damn thing, that gets expensive. You don't want to do that crap. Just relax. One of these days, you're going to go to bed and you're not going to wake up. So have fun. Okay, just have fun with it. You guys are talking about soft hands. I don't know about the comments. How about this? Here's a question from Steven Sturgeon, 9310. How does water temperature affect the sink rate of crankbaits? Stephen, my answer is, I'm not that scientifically gifted, and I have no earthly idea. I would imagine, I've never really thought about it, to be honest with you. Honestly, never really thought about it as far as, the water temp. I've thought more about the line as far as how getting it down, but I've never really thought about it. You guys in the comment section, some of you might have already put that in there. If you have, I'll get to it eventually. But I've never thought about that. It's a good question. It's a good question for somebody that's smarter than I am. Atlanta Outdoors got his Lanier Spot and Largemouth PB in December of last year, for sure. Robert says, right before the rain can be the best time to fish. As it rains, they scatter looking for warmer temps as the water cools, oxygen and shelter as the changes come. Sometimes you need to go into the tributaries deeper than normal, but they're there, just not together. So you got to look for them. I get that for sure. Makes sense, man. Good comment. What's up, Alex? Now, Tyler says he rages sometimes when he breaks a fish off in a tournament. Come on, Tyler, you're young. If any of y'all live in Greenwood, I apologize for the way I acted when my Gamecocks were playing. I bet everybody on the lake heard me. Listen, you guys suck. I'm just kidding with you. But y'all can figure out a way to lose a game. South Carolina football plays some of the most competitive football and finds a way to lose. You got good guys out there. I actually like your coach. Now, he goes on ragers. Beamer goes on some ragers. Sometimes I think he fusses just to fuss. I don't think he even knows what he's fussing about. Just like, I mean, that's just him. But yeah, that happens. And again, when it comes to college football, I'm not like a diehard anybody fan. I pull for all the Georgia teams. If the Dogs got a chance to win a national championship, I don't want nobody to beat them. If Tech's got a chance to win a national championship, I don't want nobody to beat them. Of course, that don't happen very often. Hell, I'll pull for Georgia State and Georgia Southern, all that. Braves, Hawks, Falcons. I don't watch soccer, so I don't give two shits about Atlanta United, but hell, we'll pull for them too. I like the NASCAR race in Atlanta, everything Georgia. But I cannot, just for the life of me, understand how grown men can have their days ruined because a bunch of 18 to 23-year-olds didn't win a football game. You guys, I get so tickled. Now, don't get me wrong. I love good football. I love watching it, you know. And if Georgia loses to Alabama Saturday, I'll be like, all right, Alabama's good. But there will be some of my buddies that will go into a depression, and then they will go seek some psychiatric help because they think if they fix themselves, somehow they'll be able to will Georgia over Alabama. And I'm like, dude, get a grip. Now, I wasn't always like that. Again, this is an age thing. I have mellowed as I've gotten older. I have grown in like a fine wine. I'm getting a little bit better as I get older. Back when I was younger, sure. Now I am like that with the Braves a little bit, especially with the only time I'm really like that is when the Braves play the Mets because I hate the Mets. Other than that, I'm good. Um, that's right. You got to go work. Oh, you're a Sooner fan from Pennsylvania, Robert, dude. Y'all are kind of like y'all are just on that edge from being great. Now, Bobby Knight was the king of ragers for college basketball. Now, listen, I didn't say I didn't enjoy watching coaches do it. Bobby Knight was awesome. I like watching Nick Saban go at when Nick Saban would, get asked a dumb question and just see the facial expression just absolutely change on him. Like, I can't believe you asked me that question. Tyler says I may be one of those people seeking help if Georgia loses. Listen, sun's going to come up. People that get butt hurt from football games are betting. They got money on it. Listen, my son does that. My son likes to um, he likes to play, let's just say he likes to sports gamble. And he does parlays and stuff like that. And he always gets like, let's say if he's got a 10-game parlay, he'll hit 9. He always loses one. You know, he always loses one. And it's over like some stupid uh northern Wisconsin school of the hippies against, Texas something. I'm like, why the hell did you bet on that game? You know nothing about it. Well, it seemed pretty cool. I just took it. And he will go on a little bit of a rager every once in a while, or like he does it with college basketball. Like they got it over and under. He's big time on over unders. Dude, they got to beat them by 30, or they got to get 172 points. And it's always one short or one over and all that. He bet on the national anthem a couple years ago. Reba McEntire was singing it, and he bet on the over. And luckily he won because she hit that last note. You know how they do. Of the brain or whatever. And they hit that last note. And they just carry it on for like 22 seconds. That got him the over. He won that, but he lost on the color of the Gatorade. It's just dumb stuff. But yeah, he goes on ragers like that. Uh, Atlanta Outdoors says, I saw that. He goes, I'm a recovering rager. It's never the hobby. It's the pent up crap from everything else leaking out. That's true. That's true. As a pre-Kirby fan, Kirby Smart Georgia fan, them losing doesn't bother me so much. Yeah, I know. I'm still decent friends with Quincy Carter. I think I still got his number in my phone. He actually was an assistant coach for me in youth football. I had Quincy Carter, and well, I used to give him hell. I used to give him hell back during those days and all that. Freak athlete, though, guys. You guys don't understand. I'm not and never will be big enough to play college ball or pro ball or anything like that. The size of Georgia players, even Quincy back then, I mean, he's a big man. He got drafted baseball too, just freak athlete. And warming up with him just 4 games throwing a football, like I could hear the football coming at me. But yeah, that Georgia wasn't quite what they are now back then. But I used to talk about like that during the days, like you guys, you know, y'all should have done better. I don't understand hardcore football fans that break the family up over something stupid. It happens. It happens, and Messick's parlay's been messed up for 3 weeks. That's what I'm saying. People take it so damn serious. I don't care. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want Georgia to win. I want Georgia to beat Alabama Saturday. But if they don't, I'm gonna get up and go sit in the second row of the church because those things I said through the week and all that, and pray for pray for repentance, and then knowing that Monday I'm gonna screw it all up. And I'll be right back here next Sunday. And it's just a lovely cycle. I have to go to church on Sunday mornings. That's how it gets me right for the week. And then you guys see me just absolutely trash it. But yeah, I mean, and my pastor is an Alabama fan, diehard Alabama fan. His mother is a diehard Auburn fan. We got we got a Cam. Cam is our one black guy that goes to church. Love him like a son. He's awesome. He was my son's best man at his wedding. He's a diehard Florida fan, but he's from Kentucky. I ain't figured it out. And he loves the Boston Red Sox. Who knows why these things happen? And then a lot of them are Georgia fans. We got a Georgia Tech guy, a couple of Georgia Tech guys. Like we got a little bit. We don't have a very big church, but we got an eclectic group of people, and then there's some in there that they don't watch football. Um, Luke Palmer did cash 66 out of 84 checks in his events. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. How about Oku, for example, the kicker for New York? How do you play in the NFL? Do that? You know that's Younghoe Koo that was the Falcons kicker. They got released. He just missed it, man. That's an absolute muff. I bet on stat lines. I just play with house money. I've won and never cash out. Only bet on players I've watched with my own eyes. Smart. The college fan that bothers me are the ones who say like we need to win. Me too, Alex. Yeah, like we played great yesterday. Like your ass didn't see the damn field since daggum park and rec 9-year-olds. You didn't do nothing. But yes, they're out there. I get tickled with them guys too. Anyone know when Lipsticker will have the secret herring? Will it be back in stock? Clayton, text me, Clayton. Just hit me on Messenger. Um, and how much are tickets for the raffle? I don't know. That's a big shanty thing. I don't know. I would say they're probably $5 or it'd be like $7 for one, and then they'll give you a discount for buying $20 worth or something. I don't know. I really don't, buddy. I just say what they say, and then I'll be there Saturday shaking hands, and I'm getting in the boat like everybody else. I'm gonna go try to catch some fish and stay dry. Stay dry for sure. Praying your pastor comes to the light of being a Georgia fan. Ain't gonna happen, Tyler. Ain't gonna happen. All right, we got an hour. I gotta go do some sheetrock work. So anyway, I appreciate you guys joining me today. Now tomorrow I'll be back again tomorrow at lunch, and we can fuss about football again as well, whatever we want to talk about. I'll be back again at lunch, and then I'm working on our guest for tomorrow night. And then again, I want you guys, while I got your attention next week, I'm going to be out of town. So Alex is going to be running the Monday Night Kayak show by himself. Tony will be running the Tuesday Night Livewell, and then Clint's going to run the Thursday Night Livewell. And again, it's not easy to get there and do those things. I know it seems easy. It's not easy to host a podcast. So while I'm gone, you guys help them out in the comment section. Watch and get your buddies to watch and seriously, y'all don't know how much easier it is when you guys are talking and conversing and all that and asking questions for the guests. I want you guys to support my guys while I'm out next week and all that. While I'm in Salt Lake City, gonna have some fun at the American Guide Conference. We'll talk more about that later. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, and then we'll do the live well, and then we're gonna go into the weekend. And I hope all you guys can come out to the Toys for Tots so I can take your money, right? So I can take your money. But anyway, you guys, hey, y'all been great. We will see you tomorrow. I'm gonna go do some sheetrock work. Be safe. Don't work too hard, guys.